Welcome to Wealth and Wisdom with your host, Wendy, the Financial Lion. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to be with us here today. And as always, I promised you the best experts and authorities in their fields. And today I do not disappoint. I have a wonderful guest, Morry Zelcovitch, who is the world's only brain entrainment engineer. And I am not mispronouncing the word entertainment. It is brain entrainment engineer, the world's first and only. And he is amazing. But his life wasn't always that way. And what we do on this show is we want to give you the tips, the tools, and the tricks to help you live a truly wealthy life in every area of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and of course, financially. I am the financial lion after all. So before we get started, I wanted to just give you today's financial tip for the day. And it is when you invest in your mind, your return on investment is infinite. And I can't think of a better guest to have that financial tip go with today than with Morry Zelcovitch. So, Morry, I've known you for a while now. I know you're an awesome man. I know some of the tremendous tribulations that you went through. You used to have thousands of voices in your head. You tried to commit suicide over 30 different times, 36 times, he's saying.
Six.
36?
No, six.
Oh,
Just six.
six. Oh, only six times. Oh, I thought it was
Only
over
six.
30
Yeah,
times.
only six times.
Okay. Oh, I take that back then. Okay. Only six times.
That's okay. I just don't want
That's
people to think
still
I'm more screwed
five
up than
times more
I
than most everybody else. So thank God that you were not successful and you're walking the planet today, because honestly, I don't think the sun would shine anywhere quite as bright as it does if you weren't here with us.
Thank you.
So tell me about how you went from suicidal, thousands of voices in your head, to the man you are today, who is now impacting the world with what you've discovered.
Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate being here. So I spent the first 40 years of my life wanting to be dead. I used to wake up every morning, I'd cross my fingers, I'd look out the window, and I'd hope I'd see mushroom clouds. I had an affirmation, which I still think is dramatic, but it's sickening. Life is a disease for which there is no cure but death. That's what I lived my life like for 40 years. I did try to end my life six separate occasions that I can remember, multiple injuries, like thousands of injuries, literally broken bones. I've broken my nose so many times, I actually had people ask me where I had it done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
My
which is
gosh.
hilarious. Yeah, it's a nice nose, not bad, right? I thought everybody was like that. I've been like this ever since I can remember. So what happened was when I couldn't deal with it anymore, I realized that, if I couldn't find a way to die, I had to find a way to live. So I started doing things to try to make myself feel better. I self-medicated. In other words, I was an alcoholic, I was a drug addict, I was a sex addict. I tried everything under the sun to distract myself away from how I was feeling. That obviously made everything much worse. Then I thought I'd see doctors and clinicians and stuff. I don't think they believed me
Yeah, well, we know
because
how
they
that
didn't
goes,
do,
right?
yeah, well, they didn't do anything to help me. So I got no help there. I tried homeopaths and naturopaths and everything else. That also didn't help. Supplements didn't help. Technologies didn't help. Uh, anything. I tried EMDR, hypnosis, meditation. None of that stuff helped. Eventually, I thought, maybe throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks is not maybe the most efficient way to go about this.
Right.
What I did was I went to what I call the paper internet. Back when I was younger, they didn't have this internet thing going on. It was libraries. So I went to libraries and I studied medical journals and neurological papers and research papers and, basically anything I could get my hands on, quantum physics, psychology, sociology, perception, anything that might have something to do with up in here. Because
Yeah.
that's what my problem was. I felt that it was in my thoughts. I was learning the whole time. I felt like I was failing because everything I tried didn't work. But as I was learning, I was picking up enough, and eventually one day I came across this thing called brainwave entrainment, which I would love to say I invented, but I didn't. However, I did reinvent it because what I found didn't work for me.
Mm.
So instead of getting further depressed for some reason, I thought maybe I need to change this. Maybe my whole depression was to evolve this science. So I evolved it. And I tried the first recording, and all of a sudden, these thousands of voices you mentioned
Yeah.
were gone for 5 minutes. I didn't even notice they were
For like the
gone.
first time ever, right?
First time ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was the first time listening to a half-hour recording. That's all it was. And also, when the recording ended, I felt like nothing happened. And I started thinking to myself, oh, my life is over. This was like my last best hope. Remember, this is 40 years of research, 40 years of
Right.
work, and
Right.
I'm not finding anything. And what happened was, normally when I would have a thought like that, like, this is it, I'm screwed, my life is my life, and I have to learn how to live like this, I would go into what's called a super depression. So I had depression and super depression. The
Oh,
best I ever felt for 40 years was depression.
oh,
But the worst I felt was 4 to 6 week periods of super depression.
Maury.
The realization that I'm screwed normally would have led to a super depression. But in this case, right after I had the thought, I had another thought, and it said, what did you expect? 40 years of this, and you really thought one 30-minute recording was going to change your life? And I answered myself with, good point. And I didn't go into a super depression. And all of that was because of one 30-minute recording. I
Right.
realized I was on something.
Yes. Yes.
Developed a system. Within a year, I was out of my depression.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And now I can't stop inventing. I have 40 different products. I have 50 others that I'm working on, and all of them are based with new technologies and new techniques that I've developed. So I'm like a waterfall. It just keeps coming and coming and
Now,
coming.
see, I told you the sun wouldn't shine quite as bright if you weren't on the planet with us
Well, for me,
anymore,
it would.
Maury. Look at what we'd all be missing out on. Now, I have a personal experience with your triliminals, your recordings, and one thing that really struck me when we first met was you said, here's why affirmations don't work, because you're not the one that said, I'm stupid. I'll never amount to anything. I'll never live up to my potential. So just saying that to yourself, you need to have that outside voice. Go into that. Explain that why it's so different, Maury, and why your triliminals are so impactful.
Sure, thank you. So one of the reasons why I created triliminals are basically, there's a sound you hear like shh. That's 600 frequencies laid over top of each other. Most of them are designed to act like white noise, a mask, block out external noises. But some of them are resonant to different regions of your brain. So that means that when they're vibrating, they help the brain to become hyperactive as well and to literally vibrate in unison.
Mhm.
You also hear a pulse tone, bump, 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 bump. That tone is the actual entrainment tone, and it elicits a response in the brain called LTP. LTP stands for long-term potentiation, but what it really does is it creates a situation in your brain where you can form memory pathways. If it's not present in the brain, you don't remember what went in. It goes in one ear and out the other. If
Right.
it's there, a memory pathway forms. And then you hear me speaking to you. You are, you are, you are. And the whole idea of this is that I am affirmations don't actually work, they sabotage. In my experience and in my research, they sabotage people. Even people who think they work, when you talk to people they know for decades, they will tell you nothing's really changed in them.
Really?
This has been my experience. Yeah. And
That's
these are the
huge
same people
because
who
there is a
say,
lot of people out there doing,
well, they're doing
self-affirmation.
I am affirmations. And that's the problem because I am affirmation. Well, look, I have a full head of hair. Well, I know I don't have a full head of hair. So the more you tell me that, the more I'm going to get aggravated with you.
Right.
I am wealthy. No, I'm not. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pay my rent this month. You see what I mean? It's sabotaging to say I
Is
am
it
when you're
because
not.
you're lying to yourself? Because you're
No,
trying to
it's
make
because you
yourself
know
believe
you're
something
not.
that's not
You're
true?
not lying to yourself. You're just saying something that's not true for you. You know it's not the case. And
Right.
saying it a million times just makes it worse. It doesn't make it better.
Right.
But If you say you are,
Mm.
that starts a different process. You are handsome, you are beautiful, you are smart, you are wealthy.
Oh, do go on.
Yeah. Well, if you don't believe that you are, it doesn't matter because you don't learn from the inside out, you learn from the outside in.
Outside in.
So when someone else tells you you are, it starts a whole process. What do they see that I don't see? What do they see what I
Right,
don't see? It's planting a seed, and that seed eventually grows.
right.
That's why you are works and I am doesn't. But
As long
I've
as we
done
receive
testing.
it, right? You have to receive that or let it in, yeah?
You have to be able to accept that somebody else is saying it. And again, you don't know what smells nice. You don't know what tastes good. You don't know any of this stuff until the
Yeah.
outside influences you, and then you make a decision. But that happens from the outside in. It doesn't happen from the inside out. So you are works much, much better because you are helps to train you and make you realize that there's another way to see yourself.
Yes.
Whereas I am is going, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Shut up already. I'm not this way.
Right,
Hello.
right.
You know,
So, and I've listened, tell us a little bit about all the different ones that you have because you have a plethora of these triliminals and also some of the results. Tell us about wasn't there an Olympic swimmer that was doing them? He was swimming in the ocean and
actually, it's a customer of mine. He's from Greece, and
oh,
he's not an Olympic swimmer, but he swims to an island and back every day.
okay,
That's his exercise regime.
okay.
And it normally takes him an hour and a half one direction, an hour and a half the next direction. One day I got a phone call from him and he's panicking. And I go, oh, what's wrong? He said, I did my swim today. Yeah, good. And what was wrong? And he goes, well, nothing was wrong. It's just I did it in an hour and a half. And I said, yeah, that's what you normally do it in. He said, no, Morry, you don't understand. I did it both directions in an hour and a half. I cut my time in half. It didn't take
Wow.
me an hour and a half to get there. It took me 45 minutes to get there. It took me 45 minutes to get back.
Wow.
What happened? And I asked him, I said, were you paying attention to your swimming? Were you paying attention to your strokes? No, not really. Was your mind wandering? Not really. I was just kind of there. I said, that's why.
You were just
So
in the
the
moment.
recording
Yeah.
allowed you to be in the zone.
Yeah.
You weren't fighting the water, you were with the water. It's like instead
Mm,
of salmon swimming upstream, you were swimming with the stream. Of
awesome.
course, you were moving faster
Yeah.
because you weren't overthinking it. You weren't, you know, the thing is, the human mind and the human brain is optimized to be optimal, if I can say that, if that even makes any sense. And we get in our own way.
Yeah.
And society gets in our way, and nervous tension gets in our way, and stress gets in our way. I remember there was a time when I paid my taxes, and then literally the day after I paid my taxes, I'd be worried how I'm going to pay my taxes next year. I just paid them,
Right, right, right.
like
Can I give myself a
literally the
break?
next day. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
worry about all kinds of things in the news
Yeah.
media, and, and the more we have these things with us and everything,
Yes.
it's just crazy all the distractions that get involved in our lives and stop us from doing what's smart. When you're speaking about financial decisions, one of the reasons why you're so valuable, as far as I'm concerned, is that most people don't think clearly, especially when it comes to their finances, because of all the stresses. I mean, not just the financial stresses they have. Think about a family,
Oh, yeah.
the stresses they have. How am I going to send my kid to college?
Yeah.
My husband is getting nervous because we can't afford the car payment.
Right.
Or my wife is getting nervous because the mortgage is due and I don't have money for it. You
Mhm.
know, all these pressures get in the way of our relationships. There's a lot going on. I've got news for you, Wendy. You're not a financial specialist, you're a self-help specialist because what you do does more to help people than it does to help. I mean, it helps their finances, but by helping their finances, you take so much stress and anxiety out of
Oh,
their
yeah.
life equation.
Yeah.
You are a self person as much as I am, as much as a psychiatrist is, as much as anybody is.
Well, thank you, Maury. I
Oh,
used to be in the field of natural health, and when I was asked to get into this industry, I thought if I can get people calm and relaxed and confident about their financial future, I'm still having a positive impact on their health, on their marriages, on their relationships. They're sleeping better at night. So that worked for my heart. You know what I mean? I can't do anything that my heart is not at peace with, or help somebody unless I'm at peace with it. So that is a huge part of the puzzle. And that's what the purpose of the show is, because we also have limiting beliefs and blind spots and self-sabotaging behaviors. And sometimes we can't get out of our own way. And that's why I love your triliminals, because it almost forces us to get out of our own way. Right?
Well, what they do is in my view, they reprogram what I call the negative reflexive thought process. So generally speaking, when people are depressed or anxious or upset or whatever, there's a repetitive thought going over and over and over and over again. It's not giving them a break. Triliminals help to reprogram that
Mm.
so that the go-to thought isn't always negative. And if there is a negative situation, or like in reality, I don't believe that there's such a thing as a negative situation. It's how we choose to interpret that
Right.
makes it negative or
Right.
makes it positive.
Right.
Uh, I remember thinking how crappy the world was and the economy sucks and I'm poor and, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I'm seeing things around me that are completely contradictory. I see people driving brand new cars. I'm driving in a rust bucket
Yes.
that's 5 years
Yeah.
old. I
Right.
see people with nice big houses, and I'm like wondering, can I afford the rent in my bachelor pad? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all, can I feed myself?
Right.
Food, all the clothing. Why is it that for me, the world sucks so hard, and for the other people I'm seeing around me, it doesn't?
Yeah, yeah. They're sailing.
There's
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
there's
under the ice gasping for air, and they're just skating across the top of the ice, oblivious to
yeah, and why
your
is that?
situation. Yeah.
Well, it's what I'm thinking about. It's how
Yeah.
I see the world around me kind of creates, quantum physics is one of the areas I was studying. And quantum physics, in its most basic level, says nothing exists until you observe it. The thing with humans is we don't just observe something, we define it as well. We give
True.
it.
Yeah. I
And
love
some people
quantum
give
physics.
meaning
Yeah.
the, positive potential, and others will give it a negative potential. And hence, I thought people with money were a-holes. I don't want to be an a-hole. So, of course, I had
And there's
logical.
one of the beliefs that we have that makes us
Yeah.
repel money, right? I try to tell people, I've said it on the show before, what happens if you chase a dog? It runs away. So if you start chasing money, what's it going to do? Run away. But yeah,
Smart.
if I used to think that too, or how many people did you how many lives did you destroy on your way to the top? Or, how many people
Oh,
did
that
you
is a
step on to
you're
climb the
my
corporate
sister.
ladder?
You are
All
my
that kind of stuff.
sister. That's exactly my thought too. How
Yeah.
many people I'd see someone in a Mercedes with a nice diamond ring or something, and
Yeah.
back in the day of a fur coat and whatever, so tons of.
Right.
And I'd be thinking to myself, how many people did you step on or jump over? And
Right.
then when I changed my attitude, though, it was, I wonder how many people have jobs because you're wealthy.
Yes.
A whole different way of looking at exactly the same picture, right?
Yes. Or how many people could I help when I'm wealthy? Or what
Oh,
impact could
oh,
I have on the world when I'm wealthy? You know what I mean? All of those things.
my father
So,
told me an interesting line. He said, Morry, I know you're not a fan of money, but you want to help people, don't you? Yes, I do. The richer you are, the more
yes.
people you're helping.
Yep.
I hated when he was logical and it made sense because I couldn't. Pissed me off like I can't.
I know, like, what the hell? Who asked you? But
Not
yeah.
making sense.
And it's little things like that that we don't even realize that we're doing it subconsciously, or that we had that thought
Yeah.
embedded in our minds for decades. And then we wonder, well, or people that say, well, money's just not very important to me. Well, maybe money doesn't think you're important, and that's why it never finds you. So we have to change those beliefs so that we can welcome it in, so we can do better and make an impact on the world. My goal is to be able to give away 90% of what I make and live on 10. That's my goal. I
Beautiful.
think there was somebody that owned, was it Caterpillar or something that did that? but that's my goal because just imagine how many people I could help. And you can't take it with you, as long as I can bless my family and I have a heart to fight human trafficking, so that's huge, huge, huge to me. But how many
Talk to me
children
after
could
the
I
show about
rescue?
Talk to me after the show about that.
Okay. All right. I will for sure.
Good.
I'll definitely do that. So tell the audience about this plethora of triliminals that you have, because there's one for every single issue they have in life.
So I started, triliminals were created in my second product called Quantum Confidence. And the reason why Quantum Confidence came out was I had partnered with a guy in Singapore and we had quantum mind power. And then about 3 years later, he said, we need something new. Let's do a poll and see what people need. And the biggest concern people had was their self-confidence and self-esteem.
Mm,
So he said, can you create a system on confidence and self-esteem? I said, sure. Everything's the brain, everything's neurochemistry. Chemistry is what makes you feel what you feel. So sure, we can do confidence. And he said, but I want you to come up with something different and unique. So this is why for every product I have different technologies.
okay.
And I said, okay, I'll come up with something. I had no idea what I was going to do. But there was a product out there called Paraliminals by Learning Strategies Inc. And they're a great company. And I loved their stuff because it was giving me relief when I was doing it.
Hmm.
In the midst of my depression, I'd listen to the recording. And for the 20 minutes, 25 minutes the recording lasted, I felt like I got some break, which was incredibly valuable when you're depressed all the time and you just want
Yeah.
to be dead.
Yeah.
Just even 20 minutes of feeling nothing.
Right.
I didn't feel good, but I felt nothing. That was nice, just to feel the nothing.
Right.
But
Huh.
it didn't give me long-term effects. So I reinvented the wheel and I came up with triliminals. And the triliminal, so I changed it from NLP to affirmation styles and various other differences I made. Well, anyway, I had this confidence triliminal that everyone said, this is amazing. This is crazy. This is like, I've never experienced anything like this before. Can you do one on this topic and on this topic and on this
Yeah.
topic? That was
Well,
like
who
14.
doesn't need more self-confidence? I think a lot of people struggle with fear and anxiety and insecurity and all that. So
Sure.
I think self-confidence would almost be foundational,
Well,
right?
that was the first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have 180 now
Oh my
sets,
gosh.
because I had to start a club. Because can you do it on this topic? Can you do it on this topic?
Oh,
Sometimes
right, right, right. Huh.
so there were variants of them. Like sleep has a few variants. There's others that have a few variants as well. But there's 100, I think 178 actually now. And I've got to do one for this month and I think next month. And then I think I'm stopping production for a while
Yeah.
because 180 is enough.
Yeah.
That's like someone has to be a member for 14 years or 15 years.
Right.
I don't have any members for 15 years currently.
Okay.
I'm not too worried about running out of triliminal choices for people.
No, I don't think so.
And they take a lot of effort to make as well because I have to
Yes. Oh, I
strip
know. Because they're
it.
layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of your voice and the thump, 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 and all the different sounds you put in there.
Yeah,
So we've only got a few minutes left. So can you just tell them, just name some? You have confidence, obviously. And
well,
do you have ones for
we're
abundance, for prosperity, for
I
wealth?
have quantum
All of
confidence. I have effortless prosperity. I have effortless health and relationships. I have effortless prosperity. All of these are triliminal systems. So they're basically bundles of triliminals that are specifically geared towards an outcome.
and you have
Uh,
ones for stress too, don't you?
every
Yeah,
every triliminal, every system, every recording I have helps with stress
helps with stress.
and anxiety. I even have a system called Revitamind and Revitamind Ultra that's used by doctors and clinicians for helping to research and treat Alzheimer's disease, PTSD, depression, anxiety, stress, sleep disorders.
Oh, that's
As a
awesome.
recording I use as part of my quantum mind method system called Good Night Sleep Well, that I use that recording every single night when I go to sleep.
Oh, very nice. Because sleep is more important than diet, exercise, or even heredity when it comes to predicting good health.
And the
So
kind of
that's
quality you're
huge,
going to have too. Yeah.
especially in this day and age where people are stressed out about money or worried.
Yeah.
And then to not sleep is just the worst thing that can happen to you because then you're not thinking clearly, you're not making good decisions, any of that stuff. So I
100.
understand that you have a gift because you're such an awesome human being. So you have a
Oh,
gift for our audience. So tell us about that, Morry.
sure. We have a gift called digital coffee.
I love it.
So thank you. A lot of my clients had a problem that they have to start their day with coffee to get them going, or in the middle of the day because they start getting lethargic. And a lot of them would spill the coffee on their pants if they dip their tie in the coffee, all kinds of things. So I came up with a digital form of coffee. It's about a 15-minute recording. You put on your headphones, you can stick it in while you're get to work a little bit early, play it in the car, just recline. Never use any of my recordings while you're driving or doing anything
Right,
dangerous.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But it's, like I said, about 15 minutes. It helps with building energy, relaxed alertness, does a whole lot of things. I generally don't like giving a lot more meaning to these things because I don't want to talk events into people.
Yeah.
And often when people use brainwave entrainment, when it's properly engineered, they will get their own results. Whatever they need is kind of what they will get, because
Yeah.
the star of my work, despite how nicely Wendy is talking about me, the star of my work is actually your brain,
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah.
My work helps your brain and it kind of nudges it in the right directions, but it's really your brain. And that's why when people buy my products or use them, they often get very different results than someone else who wrote a testimonial, and then someone else wrote a testimonial. They're all getting
Right,
different.
right. Or like the man who swam all of his back to
Yeah,
the out to the island and back in half the time. So,
yeah.
and for everyone listening, you can find Maury's gift on the financiallion.com/gift page. It's the financiallion.com/gift. And that will be there. He'll be the link in his bio and his fabulous picture and everything about him will be there, as well as all the other guests that I've had on. That's where you can access their gifts. And until then, remember, life does not come with a remote control. You have to get up and change it yourself. So until we see you again, be safe and know that you are loved. Bye bye for now.